am here with Michael Stausholm. He is the founder of SproutWorld.com, which is a startup behind the world's only plantable pencil and other green consumer products. Now, Sprouts has clients like Disney, Bacardi, Bank of America, WWF, Marriott, Coca Cola, and they all get their logos engraved on the pencils and use them for green giveaways. What's cool about it is that Sprout has offices in Copenhagen and Boston and sells more than 450,000 pencils a month to over 60 countries. Wow, that's huge. Michael Stausholm has also worked with as a sustainability expert and consultant for the past 16 years. And for 15 of those years, he worked in Asia with sustainable production within the textile industry, advising clients like Walmart, Nike. He's also been a speaker on FN events and he blogs about corporate sustainability on Huffington Post. So already we know you have a huge career working with major corporate names. And it seems like you spent some time in Asia. So that's a very and then you're in the UK, correct? So you've got a really broad worldly experience we're looking at here. Can you unpack some of that? Like who are you specifically? Because that's a lot.
I'm actually in Denmark. I'm Danish, but
Ah,
yes, I've had a very broad career. I started out in shipping with Maersk Line, the big shipping line, and I went to Asia when I was about 23 years old. I was supposed to stay there for 6 months, but ended up staying for 14 years and changed my career in between from shipping to garment textiles. So for the last about 10 years, I was in Asia. I worked in the shipping garment business.
what's that like? I mean, how does that inform the work you're doing now with Sprouts? Do you find any pivotal moments that sort of informed your decision to form a company like Sprouts?
I think very much, yes, because when I changed to work in garments and textiles, this was back in the mid-late 90s. In Asia, it was still very much sweatshop conditions in factories and with workers. And it was all about price, and deliveries. But then came actually Walmart and Nike along, and they started questioning whether it was not possible to give the workers better conditions by paying them just a little bit more, and by giving them what we today consider basic human rights, like allow them to go to the bathroom during working hours, stuff like that, having access to some healthcare, and so on. And it just made me realize that you can actually make a difference for people and for the products you make by doing small changes to the people you work with. It doesn't have to be about price. If you make the workers happy, if you give them at least decent working conditions, they will also be more efficient and work much better. So it made a lot of sense.
For you to move into Sprouts. And if I remember correctly, while I was doing some research, you purchased the company from some students in Boston.
No, actually, when I came back from Asia, I started to do a lot of public speaking and
Ah,
workshops and so on sustainability. But it was mostly on how to be responsible when you're doing production and so on. That was, we moved to about 2012 and so, or so about. And the thing is that back then, 8 years ago, everyone was talking about sustainability. It was a big buzzword, but it was no one could really put words to it. It was just very fluffy. It was a
sustainability. Yeah.
exactly, let's go sustainable. Everyone is doing that, but hey, how do we do it? And the problem was it was very difficult to explain what sustainability was all about. So what happened was on Kickstarter.com, the crowdfunding site, I saw the Sprout pencil, a pencil that you can plant after use. And it was invented by three young students at MIT in Boston. And then they were looking for funding for their project, of course. And when I saw the Sprout pencil and their invention, their idea, I just thought this is an amazing product to illustrate what sustainability is all about. You have a product that you use for something, when you're done using it, instead of throwing it out, you use it for something entirely different. In the case of the sprout pencil, you actually literally give it new life by planting it. And to me, that's what sustainability is all about. And that's something that both adults and kids, children, can understand. It's much easier to explain by using the sprout pencil as illustrator.
You know, it's kudos to you. What an example of leadership in your industry to be able to have that background in shipping and textiles, and to see a project like that in the works and say to yourself, "This needs more attention," and I have the platform that can continue to push this forward because I'm already a speaker doing so much with this. That's an incredible show and display of leadership. Now, is leadership something you focus on a lot in your life?
Yes, very much, because I think you can make a big difference by being um, how to say it, a decent leader, someone who listens rather than just outlining or telling people what to do. If you actually try to listen, you will be a much better leader, and people will be much more likely to follow you when they are part of the process. So to me, leadership is about motivating, is about inspiring people, because I've learned that motivation, inspiration, that those are the best tools for getting people to do things the way you actually want them to be done.
Right. And when preparing to speak, do you have any processes that you follow that you've established yourself, sort of rituals, or is it sort of like you know your industry so well that it just comes off naturally to you?
It's funny because I've been doing public speaking for many years, but leading up to any public speaking, no matter it's 20 people or 1,000 people, I'm always nervous. I'm always and that's really fun because I know what I'm talking about. I may not be the best expert or anything, but I know what I'm talking about. So it's fun that I'm I'm nervous. But once I enter a stage or in front of a TV camera, that is gone, because I feel comfortable with my knowledge about sustainability and what I want to tell people about it. To me, sustainability is like we talked about before, is very fluffy. It's a big word, and people are talking about CO2. People are talking about polar bears dying in the Arctics because of the global warming. It's very difficult for you and me as individuals, as consumers, to understand. Okay, what can we do about that? That it's too big. So to me, it's important that we break it down into smaller things. That we do small things in our everyday life. That when you add it all up, it actually makes a big impact. And that's what the Sprout Pencil is about. Because the Sprout Pencil is not going to save the world in any way whatsoever. But if that sort of product, that sort of story behind the Sprout Pencil can help inspire people to do other small things, sustainable things, environmentally friendly things in their everyday life, then that's going to make a big difference.
Now, I remember reading that it said something about 60 countries. Is that correct? Sprout pencils being sold in about 60 countries?
I think it's actually more like it's more like 80 countries.
Wow. And
And so far, in the last 7 years, we've sold more than 30 million pieces of Sprout pencils.
now, did your background in shipping help with sort of like, did you have a network that you were able to tap into to sort of get that kind of distribution across, or were you responsible for that, or how that just a natural consequence of a great product?
It's more a natural consequence of what is not only a great product, but a great messenger, because that's what the Sprout pencil is about. It's being used as a messenger. Companies are using it as an icebreaker to explain about their own sustainable and green messages. It's being used by parents to explain to their kids how sustainability works. So I think it came more as a natural consequence of this. The fact that it's a patented product. Sprout is the only company in the world that is and can make seed pencils like that. And because of the focus on sustainability, we very early on got a lot of publicity, media exposure all over the world, and that of course helped get us out into new markets much faster than if we were just selling clothing or garments.
Now, when all this publicity hit, was it something you were prepared for as a speaker, or did you have to adjust?
I definitely had to adjust, because it's one thing doing public speaking, it's another thing being on TV or doing media interviews all the time. It's definitely very different. But I learned that as long as I speak what's on my mind, I mean, as long as I speak from, I don't want to sound holy or anything, but as long as I speak from the heart, it can't go that wrong.
No, I mean, this podcast is all about heart. I mean, that's this action and ambition, right? So it's about people doing things differently. And to do different things, you have to come from the heart. So I 100% I stand behind it. There's nothing corny or holy or dreamy about saying speaking from the heart. I do it every day, so we're in the same
You
boat
gotta do
there.
that.
Yeah. No, so that's cool. So, are there any intricacies you might be able to get into about in terms of like what you had to adjust to in terms of like publicity, why it's so different from public speaking? Because there might be people listening who fall into something like that and may not be prepared, and the publicist may not always be as useful um, uh, as people think to prepare you for it. They might give you some notes, but at the end of the day, you have to be the one that goes out there. Is there anything you specifically do? You said you get nervous, but is there anything you do to turn it around for you, or you just let it happen?
To me, I just let it happen. I mean, one thing is preparation. It can be very it can be great to be able to prepare for, let's say, an interview or TV by having the questions in advance, for instance. That I think will help most people to be a little bit more comfortable. But in the end, what I've learned also is that, for instance, you and I talking now, I have no idea. I had no idea in advance what kind of questions you're going to ask. That makes for a much better flow. It makes for a conversational kind of thing, rather than the interview style that you see on TV. And that's what I love about podcasting, that you are able to have a conversation like you and I. We were sitting in the living room having a beer and just
Yeah.
having that. So I think, but in general, preparation is always good, and being comfortable about who you are and what you want to say, no matter who's asking. I mean, as long as you stay true to who you are, you stay authentic, you stick to the truth, then you can never go wrong in working with the media.
Now, being in the field and being an expert as you are of sustainability and that entire vertical, are there any sources you turn to on a regular to sort of stay on the top of the happenings in your industry, or is it through your network that you do that, like LinkedIn or something like that? Are there any specific rituals you go through, like, oh, let me check out this site?
I read a lot, for sure, but I also get a lot of briefings from my people who are also reading a lot. I mean, we have people who are uh, absolutely experts on sustainability, much more than me. I mean, I'm by background a more commercial guy, but we have people in the company that are trained and complete experts in sustainability. So I listen to them a lot, listen to new research, and of course follow the news. And I use LinkedIn a lot. For getting information, for following the right people who are actually experts in the field.
It sounds like you have a great culture at your company in terms of being able to listen to the other team. It's not so top down. It seems pretty horizontal across the board. Is that true?
That's true. Horizontal is the correct word. I mean, uh, we are Danish based, So the majority of the employees are from Denmark, but we have lots of employees across Europe, and we also have we are 4 people in the US. So we are lots of different cultures with lots of different backgrounds in terms of how were they working before and so on. But the Danish way is to have very little hierarchy. I mean, the interns, the student assistants, they can knock on my door and they can talk about whatever they want to talk about, because very often they have great ideas because they are young, much younger than me, and they listen and know other stuff. So our culture in the company is very value driven as opposed to strategy driven. And our values are very, very important. For instance, the majority, funny enough, the majority of the employees are women in Sprout, and the leader group is the majority is women as well. So that also makes for a certain kind of culture where it's perhaps less how to say it, less KPI driven. It's we work with numbers every day. We work with the PL and so on, but it's much more value driven, and it's more from the heart than if it was a pure tech company with just young guys. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah, I know where you're getting at, and it's true. That's definitely a trademark of American workplace culture. It's very, top down, and some people who are championing the opposite, they follow the trend a lot, like the sustainability trend. But it's really cool to see that that's the way you work with your team, and that no voice is too small, and no idea coming from too small a place. I think that makes a big difference because you're only as strong as your weakest link. I mean, that's just true of any company. Um, and which makes me ask, like, are there any like rituals you guys have with meetings at Sprout? Is there anything you guys do particular to get the juices flowing for your whole team? Like, all right, guys, it's another day. Let's get it going.
No, I know what you mean, but that the kind of culture you described there, where you are extremely motivational, that's not really the Danish way.
Ah,
Uh,
another
we
American culture habit, huh?
that's probably more of an American way, and I'm not saying either one is better than the other,
Sure.
because sometimes I miss the okay, come on guys, let's that can be, there's a time for that as well. But in Sprout, and I think in most Danish companies, it's a more laid back
Mm,
culture. You sit down in meetings, you try to keep them short, but everyone can speak, whether again you are the student intern or you're the CEO. Everybody listens. So it's a bit more not laid back, but more relaxed, perhaps.
hmm.
I don't know if that makes
Makes me
sense.
wonder what your hiring process is like. Is
Well,
there anyone it makes me wonder what your hiring process is like. Is there anything you specifically look for?
our hiring processes are extremely tough, because not only are we looking for obviously the qualifications for the specific job, but we are looking very, very much for personality. I mean, today I don't sit in on all interviews anymore. I used to, but I sit in on, of course, the C level and stuff.
Sure.
And to me, what really matters is that when I sit across from you, I need to be able to feel you. I need to be able to feel that you you know about Sprout, and you really, really want to work for Sprout, not just for the job of because we are in the media or growing a lot, but you want to do it because you feel you can make a difference for Sprout. And I want to make sure that I can feel that I want to sit next to you for 8 hours on a transatlantic
Right.
plane, right? And not just want to run away, but actually want to listen and have a conversation. That's important.
So what's it looking like these days at Sprouts now that you've established yourselves? You're clearly making a mark. I mean, you even have World Wrestling Federation as a partner and championing this cause with their logos. I mean, where are you guys going now?
We are, I mean, the thing is that we have sold, we sold last year about 7 million pieces of Sprout pencils. But if we look to the pencil market, which we are not really, because the pencils market is different. Ours is not just a pencil, but every year more than 15 billion pieces of pencils are sold globally. And if you look to the plastic ball pens, that's an even bigger market, because every single day 35 million pieces of plastic ball pens are sold
Wow.
globally. Exactly. That wow I love, because that's how that's what I said the first time I heard it. And that means that's a huge market to look into, because our patent covers writing instruments you can plant. So one day we're gonna crack the problem of making uh, ball pens you can plant. Today there are metal parts and plastic parts we
Yeah.
could use, but one day when we crack, when we invent the fully biodegradable ball pen, that's a massive market, and that's where we can really do a difference. And to me, the most important thing is I want to make sustainability affordable for everyone. I mean, everyone should be able to buy into sustainability. It should never be too expensive for you, and that's where we're heading. That's where I wanna go. There shouldn't be anyone who cannot afford to buy a Sprout pencil or something else that's sustainable just because it's sustainable.
Everyone should have access to the process of contributing to sustainability.
Exactly. Everyone should be able to afford it.
You know, it makes me think with the pen, there's got to be something, an answer in the, the olden days of using feathers, the feather points for pens. And there's got to be something there, dip it in lacquer and who knows what, like to get it to be biodegradable. There's got to be something. They always say sometimes the solution to the problem you're looking for is in an industry outside of your own. So for whatever it's worth, I don't know.
It,
There's,
it,
it's reminiscent of Maxwell Maltz. He wrote Psycho-Cybernetics, and he was working on the whole mind, but a lot of his work had to do with plastic surgery. And he found
yes.
that no matter what, you've read the book.
Yeah. No. 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 No.
Oh,
But
well, no matter what he did to someone's face and made them look better, they still had the same issues. And so he found that we can never grow beyond our own self image. And so he had to step into psychology in order to actually make his practice grow to the extent that it did. And so that was where I got sometimes the answer you're looking for is outside of your industry.
it,
Um,
that's a great point, and a great example is that we are in a couple of months going to launch a new product. It's a makeup liner, makeup pencil,
really?
which you can plant after use.
That's
Um,
huge.
that is a huge market, and Philip, the idea came from exactly a brainstorm a couple of years ago in the company. And again, like I said before, the employees are 75% women.
Right.
So sitting around the table, saying, okay, we have this patent covering writing instruments you can plant. What else can we do? And one of the women, female employees, said, "Well, we could make an eyeliner you can plant after use." And I said, being an old white man, that's a horrible idea.
Oh,
That's
no.
really a bad idea. I don't see that coming anywhere. And she said, "Well, why don't we, all of us women, have a look in our handbags?" And they all put the handbags on the or take the handbags. And I tell you, the one with the fewest makeup pencils in the back had three. The one with the most had 10 different eyeliners, brow liners. And I said, okay, I get the point. I
To
think that's
see is to believe.
I think that's a great idea, and it's a huge market. it's a massive market, and the cosmetic industry is not very sustainable. They're really in for a wake up call on that.
Yeah. Wow. What a great direction to head the company in and to disrupt something that needs disruption. This is amazing. Honestly, it's only getting better as we continue to go. But I know we only have so much time, so I have to wrap it up the way I always do. Knowing how business works, and it's always about referrals. Oh, I know a guy, or I know a lady who can get this done for you. It's always about knowing somebody. So, given that we don't know who's listening, when they're listening, where they might be listening, if there was anybody you could meet by name or trade, do you have any ideas of who that might be?
Actually, it would be two people, and I would have to tell you two stories about it very briefly,
Please do. Please do.
because we have delivered sprout pencils to both of them. The first one would be actually Michelle Obama, and of course her husband Barack as well. A few years ago, I was contacted by an agency in New York, and they wanted us to supply pencils for an author. We didn't know who it was, but it turned out to be Michelle Obama's book launch, Becoming. So she brought along sprout pencils on her book tour. I would love to I would love to
Yeah.
meet the Obama couple. The other one is probably more business, is Richard Branson.
Ah,
I'm a big fan because I think he must be the one who has the most fun doing business in the history of business. And the fun story is that we are selling sprout pencils on Virgin Airlines. You can buy on the planes in the tax-free catalog and so on, sprout pencil boxes. And Richard Branson's son, Sam Branson, he actually was flying commercial with Virgin. He saw the sprout pencils. He thought it was a great idea for his kids. So he bought he bought 2 boxes of sprout pencils. He brought them home. His father saw it, thought it was a great idea. And a few months later, we got a call from Necker Island, which is the private island of Sir Richard Branson, to order a lot of sprout pencils, which I believe they're handing out to the VIP guests there. I would love to
oh,
meet Richard Branson to hear more about how
yeah.
he's using sprout pencils.
No, that has to happen. We got to get your publicist, whoever involved, to make this happen. It just makes so much sense. That's written in. That's a no-brainer. It's got to happen. And they might listen to this, who knows where it'll be featured. You never know, but that's an exciting. See, that's why I love asking that question, because of things like that.
Exactly.
Michael, this has been an absolute pleasure, man. Honestly, I want to ask you so much more, but we are strapped for time. However, we can stay in touch, and who knows, maybe when you make your new launch, you can come back to the show and let the people know what's going on, what your plans are in store for the makeup industry, and how you plan to disrupt that. But other than that, man, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
It's been a real pleasure to join you, Philip. I really appreciate.
Also, just so that we don't miss the opportunity, is there anywhere you want specifically for people to reach out to you?
LinkedIn, Michael Stausholm, or just go to sproutworld.com, find my email there and shoot me an email.
Beautiful. Well, Michael, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Awesome.